Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Gooner here, bringing another Arsenal talk. In the Arsenal talk, I'll be covering the Newcastle game and 3 points. Regardless of how you get it, regardless of how good you play, how poorly you play, 3 points is 3 points, and something that we desperately needed because Newcastle's tied with us points wise. We had them on goal differential, but it was an important game. It seems like the players really knew that for once. There's been other important games throughout the season where they just didn't look up for it. Currently, now we're tied with Southampton with 26 points at goal differential. They're plus 12 or plus 9. So there's 3 goal difference, and they seem to be coming back down to earth, which is good to see. Next up is West Ham. They need to come back down to earth a little bit as well. Um, and of course, we have an important game against them coming up. Uh, Southampton still has, I believe, like Chelsea, and they have some of the bigger names coming up through their schedule. They kind of had a schedule almost like we did last year, where it was kind of soft in the middle, and then at the end, you know, they had all the big names. So they seem to be coming back down to earth, which is nice to see. Um, Overall, it was just from start to finish, it really looked like they came to play Arsenal and to come and play their style, even with the scare of having a fullback playing as a center half once again with Debussy. They weren't challenged at all, pretty much. Probably for the first about 60 minutes. Newcastle had one opportunity which they should have capitalized on. I mean, I don't know how you can not try to lift the ball that's 2 yards out up over the keeper, but Chesney made himself big. He was basically laying on his side trying to do anything that he could, and made a couple big saves there to keep the score line. I think it was 1-0 at the time. Um, so ups to him for making those saves, and the guys just looked energized. This is what happens when you sit players when they don't play for about a week, when they have time off, when they have time to rest their muscles to recover properly. And you saw it for everybody, from Danny Welbeck to Alexis Sanchez, Olivier Giroud. You saw all those guys. Gibbs, they were, Santi as well. Pressing hard every single, throughout. You even saw Danny Welbeck in the 90th minute running after the goalkeeper. you know, busting ass trying to get the ball back at the 90-minute mark. But overall, great game to see, great game to watch. And from start to finish, it was just fun to watch. There was a lot of one-touch passing inside the box. Um, Something that we'd love to see, something that's the Arsenal style. Uh, you know, for the game, I thought Olivier Giroud would have a brace, which he did. Santi, I was giving him stick during the game because he was giving the ball away. He was making some lazy passes, wasn't making some great passes, but he came away with a brace as well on his birthday, scoring 2 goals, back-to-back games, uh, at least BPL games, that we had PKs, which is basically unheard of for us. You would think with all the talent that we have and the one-touch passing and the players that we have to take on defenders that we would get more PKs called for us in favor of us, and it just doesn't happen for us. I don't know why. Especially over the last few years, it just doesn't happen. But back-to-back games for PKs, Santi took them both, of course, in the Stoke City game, and then this one, it was just a beautiful little chip. He had the goalkeeper going, the opposite direction, right side, and it was kind of funny to see. And goalkeeper just kind of gets up, walks away, like yeah, I kind of messed that one up. Um, but Olivier Giroud's first goal header, God, I want to see more of that. He needs that service because the dude's what 6'3", 6'4", good in the air. Same with Danny Welbeck. We need that kind of service. It was pretty much a perfect ball. He called for it as well. It was perfect build up between Olivier Giroud and Alexis Sanchez, and you could see on the replay with Olivier Giroud basically calling for it and pointing exactly where he wanted it, and Alexis Sanchez put it on a plate for him. It was perfect, and he was able to, head the ball into wherever he basically wanted, where he wanted to go near post, far post, right at the keeper, which thank God he didn't. Um, but we need to see more of that from Olivier Giroud. We need to see more of an aerial game because when you're that tall, when you have that type of aerial game, when you have that possibility of an aerial game, you need to use it. Who cares how the ball goes in the back of the net as long as it goes into the back of the net. So we need to see more of that. We need to see better service from our wingers, our fullbacks, even our number 10, even the CM. We need to see better service into the box that Olivier Giroud's going to have the opportunity to use his head, or even Danny Welbeck to use his head. We need to utilize that a lot more instead of always looking for that perfect final ball to make it a sexy goal. It doesn't matter. The score line at the end of the day, no, it doesn't matter of how the ball goes in the back of the net. But it was good to see. Other than that, the first half it was pretty much all us. I was shocked by, in the first about 60 minutes of how Newcastle played, even basically the entire game. Considering that you have a Bellerin who is, inexperienced as far as BPL goes. You have Debuchy playing at center half. You have a lackluster pace center half and Per Mertesacker back there. And they didn't go at them. They didn't try to challenge them. They didn't. It seemed like they were just ready to park the bus and pray for a draw or something, or if they can nick a goal, get on the counterattack. And I was surprised because Newcastle has a lot of young talent, a lot of pace out there, some guys with some definite skill to take on defenders and go straight at defenders, and they just didn't do it today. I didn't understand it. Coming off the win of the season so far for Newcastle against Chelsea last week, beating them 2-1 to get their unbeaten streak out of the way, their first loss of the season, and it definitely wasn't the same Newcastle that I watched last week, where they were energized, where they're ready to do the counterattack, or even playing against anyone else that they've had wins against this year, and how they've been playing over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. And it just seemed like a completely different side. It seemed like it looked like the side from the first couple months of the season where they just couldn't win a game. They couldn't get a point. I think they had 7 points in their first something like 10 games or 9 games or something like that. That's the Newcastle that it looked like. And I was kind of shocked with Debuchy playing at center half, with Bellerin out there who played well today. I mean, he played really well today, but he's not the biggest guy. He's not the biggest physical fullback in the BPL by a long shot. He still has that kind of learning curve, and he still needs to build up his body a little bit to be more of a physical fullback. But he played great. I thought he was charging up the side, helping in the attack, tracking back, and making good challenges all game long. He played really well. I thought, other than Olivier Giroud, he was probably the man of the match, to be honest with you. That's how well I thought he played today. But it was great to see even the second goal, the disallowed goal by Danny Welbeck. Lee Mason, what a fucktard. Honestly, I mean, that guy was behind the 8 ball all game long. It was the same last week. It's the same this week. These referees are just ridiculous. You could obviously see that. What was it? Jamet, or the Netherlands fullback. I mean, he took a dive. Welbeck didn't even touch the kid, and he just took a dive. Welbeck wasn't even near him. I think there was like a 6-inch cushion between them, and the kid took a dive, and it was a beautiful chip too. I mean, of how hard he worked to get himself in that position to make a chip to even get a chance at goal, and it was disallowed. It was fucking ridiculous. Even the side judge, who had probably the more of a perfect view of the play, didn't help out and say, he didn't touch me. He took a dive. It's fucking ridiculous. Check Tiote, he should have been gone somewhere around the 50th minute. In my opinion, he had a red card, two yellows, maybe even three yellows in the game, and somehow he lasted throughout the entire game, which is fucking ridiculous. That kick at Alexis Sanchez should have been an automatic yellow, possibly even a red, because people were trying to make the excuse of saying, well, it was his momentum, but if you look at it, he kicked him. It was his, if you go with your momentum, you don't move your leg or anything. You just kind of complete your challenge. No, he kicked him. He kicked him right in the chest, and nothing was called. No, not even a yellow card on that, which is fucking ridiculous. These fucking referees, and like I said, he should have been sent off in probably about like the 50th minute or so. That's Chetiote too in a nutshell. He's very physical. It's something that we lack, to be honest with you. But he's just a very physical player, and he gets away with a lot of shit. Especially with these referees. I just don't understand of how he doesn't lead the league in red cards. To be honest with you, the way he plays, and for not to even get sent off is it's a slap in the face, to be honest with you. I mean, it just shows how incompetent these referees are, week after week, and how many mistakes they make per game. If you make maybe a couple mistakes a game, it's understandable. It's the human error. But when you make like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mistakes in a game, I mean that's fucking ridiculous. Again, they're not going to be held accountable. We'll never know what's going to happen to these referees. Lee Mason will be refereeing a game next weekend, once again, and instead of the FA, punishing him in some sort of way. But onto like the brace by Santi, of course. That it was kind of, yeah, I want to say kind of like a chip. He had a weird angle too, and he went far post and went right over the keeper's shoulder, perfect right into the net. He definitely needed. I was giving him shit right before that because he came out of the half like he was still in the dressing room. To be honest with you, I made a funny comment of saying that during halftime that Santi Cazorla was transferred to Newcastle, and he came out still wearing an Arsenal shirt, and that's kind of how poor he was playing coming out of the gate. But then the that first goal that he scored pretty much really got him back on track. Of course, we need him as well. Not only through like Aaron Ramsey's confidence, but we need that scoring out of Santi Cazorla. We need to see that form back from the 12 and 13 season. And out of the last like 3 or 4 weeks when he's back into that number 10 role, he's been playing better, obviously, but he still needs to clean up his passing. He gave the ball away. He made some stupid passes that kind of killed our attack. Made the wrong passes on a couple occasions, but it was nice to see him score a couple goals, getting that PK, chipping the keeper, and yeah, it's nice to see him on the score sheet to get him that confidence because what some of these players really kind of lack right now is just that confidence. Other than Alexis Sanchez and maybe a Danny Welbeck, their confidence. Even the Ox had a great game, I thought, playing in that CM role. A couple times he was pushing, I think, maybe a little bit too far forward, but Newcastle wasn't doing anything, so you couldn't really make a complaint about that too much, that he was pushing a little bit too far forward. But it was nice to see him in that role and take defenders on and really use the middle of the field to his advantage. And Newcastle didn't really have any answers for the Ox. I thought he probably deserved a goal at some point, but one of his goals or one of his chances, he skyrocketed into like 40 rolls up. But overall, great game to see. Total shots. I mean, this is kind of there was a couple other chances too. One by Gibbs that should have been possibly in the back of the net. Danny Welbeck had a nice volley from a pass from, I believe it was Santi Cazorla or Alexis Sanchez. He had a little chip over the side, and he had a nice little volley that almost went in. Lee Dixon during the game, that was the commentators for NBC, and he said he should have done better and it should have been back into the net, and that's what a lot of people said on Twitter. But I mean, that's pretty difficult. That was a pretty difficult shot to take on, and just to have him connect almost cleanly to it and almost go in, you have to really hand it to him to even try that. Because some players, they would just try to not even take it on the volley. They would just let the ball kind of come down or take it off their chest and then try to control the ball and then take a shot. To where he tried to take that volley, which we need more of that. We need more people who are players that take risk rather than doing the obvious. Maybe something like a Olivier Giroud does that a lot, to where instead of trying to take it on the volley or taking it one time, he'll try to take it down, control it, then take a shot. Well, that gives the defense time to adjust. That gives the goalkeeper time to adjust. We need to catch those guys off guard as much as possible. But we had 17 shots, 4 on target, 4 goals. Obviously, our passing accuracy wasn't that great. It was only at 81%. Time of possession, we only had 51% of their 49%, which I don't know if I would agree with that all that much. They had a lot of possession, probably from the 70 minute mark to the end of the game, because it seemed like they didn't really wake up until, it was about like the 60th, 63rd minute or something when Newcastle finally really started to try to play. Of course, their one goal that they did have, set pieces. Our set pieces are shit shows. At least defending wise too. Of course, that's supposed to be quote unquote Steve Bold's area, and again, what does he offer us? Obviously, he's not putting the people in proper positions to defend properly on set pieces, and it should have been, how Perez was that wide open, how he didn't have a Arsenal defender right in front of him, so he couldn't make that kind of header is just beyond me. I guess going back to the set pieces, Per Mertesacker almost had like a little flick off the back of his head. That almost went right off the crossbar. Danny Welbeck almost had a chance on that as well, but I guess that doesn't really count as a shot on target. I guess even though it hits the crossbar, but only had 3 offsides, had 9 corners, they had 6 corners. Fouls conceded. This is kind of the funny part where we had 14 fouls and they only had 15. Uh, the Ox had a yellow card, kind of later in the game that should never even been a yellow card, because it was kind of like a same challenge that Czech Tiote was making all game long, and that was like one of Ox's like first or second fouls against him in the game, and all of a sudden a yellow card comes out, which is fucking ridiculous. But all in all, great win. Hopefully, it just pushes us forward. We got some time off. Our next game against Liverpool is going to be huge. Of course, they're playing Manchester United next week, or not next week, tomorrow, which is going to be a huge game for Liverpool. It'll be great to see them. It'd be great to see a draw, obviously, because then we can start catching up a little bit. Currently now, without Manchester United or Liverpool playing, United's at 28 points, and then Liverpool's at 21 points. So if Liverpool can scrape out a draw somehow, just because they're playing like shit, this is the bottom of the barrel for them right now, with getting knocked out of Champions League, and then they have to play their main rival, which is Manchester United. But if they can scrape out a draw on it, that would be great, because then it would go 22 points to them, and it would be 29 points, and we'll be 3 behind Manchester United, who is currently in 3rd place. And then we have Liverpool next weekend, which is going to be a huge game. Again, we have to distance ourselves from these teams going forward, going into the Christmas break or the Christmas season, and all the games that we're going to have to be playing during that time. And we just have to start distancing ourselves. We got West Ham coming up very soon, and we have to win that game so we can start, widening the gap between us and from getting into the top 4, and then distancing ourselves between the 4th and 5th spot, and even 6th and 7th spot, so we don't have to play almost to the very last game of the season to get into that top 4. And we need to get in that top 3 regardless. And it was kind of funny listening to Arsene Wenger after the game, and their question about the Stoke incident outside the train station, which I talked about in one of my other episodes, 2 episodes ago, and he said he understood it and everything like that, and he almost kind of looked dejected a little bit after even this game, even this win against Newcastle. I mean, he knows he's up against it now. He knows that the fans are finally speaking out, and a lot of fans are speaking out. Usually, the Wenger out crowd was a very small minority of people, and now it's just growing and growing to the point to where he knows he has to start winning games, and it's on him to start picking the best 11 and start rotating the squad a little bit more, and to you know not take on so many injuries. I guess there is a line today I saw on Twitter that Koscielny might not be out for 3 months. So I don't know, that report must be false, because they said that I saw a quote on Twitter saying that Koscielny and Ramsey will be out for 2 weeks, and then they'll reevaluate them after 2 weeks and see where they're at. So hopefully, I mean, if Koscielny's out for 3 months, I mean that's just, oh God, I don't even want to think about it. Another quote by Arsene Wenger. He's been flip flopping, uh, especially out to the last like few days. After the Galatasaray game, he basically said that if everybody's fit, that we won't be buying in January. Now he's saying today, even after the Newcastle game, that in January he'll be looking to buy a center half. Well, that's what we want to hear. We don't want to have any of these fucking shadow games. Or are we going to buy? Or we are not going to buy? Who cares? We need to buy a center half regardless. We need to buy even a DM if there's one out there to buy. Probably most of the good ones will be cup tied, but who cares? Let's get one in for the rest of the BPL season, so we can start getting back into that top four, so we can even get top three, so we don't have to worry about playing in a playoff next season for the Champions League. So that should be the goal. And we should be spending money regardless in January, because we still have needs, especially in defense. You can't go into a season, you can't even finish a season with only 6 total defenders. We need at least 2 more coming in, possibly a fullback, possibly, and definitely a center half. And if we can get a DM that's even a DM, even like a William Carvalhal, which doesn't make any sense. It would have made so much sense in the summertime to buy him, because he could have covered 2 areas, which is the DM role and the center half. He can play the center half. He's played center half numerous times, but now his natural position is the DM spot. Buying someone like that who is versatile, who Arsene Wenger loves those type of guys who are so versatile that they can play multiple positions. Why not buy a guy like that, regardless of what his buyout clause is? You buy a guy like that, he can cover 2 areas in one stone. Kill 2 birds in one stone. That's the way you got to start thinking, and hopefully he does buy in January, and hopefully he already has, hopefully him and Ivan Gazidis and whoever else has people lined up already that they're already talking. Maybe they even have a transfer fee already set in place, because it would be good to see someone coming in within the first week and a half of the transfer window right away, because that's how desperate we are right now because of our injuries. And hopefully, Lauren Koscielny injury is just a scare. Hopefully all the reports are false, and he's only going to be out for 2 or 3 more weeks. Because we definitely need him, because he's the glue. Him and Gibbs, in my opinion, are the glue of that back line, that make that back line as strong as it was last year. So we need that guy back badly. But all in all, it was a good game. Hopefully they build on this. Hopefully they go into Liverpool, because it's going to be a revenge game next week. This is going to be a revenge game from last week, and we need to start scoring goals, and we need to just take it to them. Play like we did today. Play like we did against Galatasaray. Play like we did in the second half of the Stoke game. Play with heart. Play with intensity. Play with pride. Play for the badge. Play for your fucking manager. Play for a new whatever motivates you. Do it. Give 100% each and every game, because it's going to come fast and furious coming up in after the Liverpool game. You got you got the QPR. You got I believe you have West Ham right after that. Yeah, 26th. Well, let's see. 21st on Sunday is Liverpool. Then the 26th is a Friday. You got Queens Park Rangers. 28th is a Sunday. You got West Ham United. Uh, New Year's Day, January 1st, you got Southampton. The 4th, then you have Hull City, and then we finally have a week off, and we play Stoke City again at home, which is kind of nice because the Hull City and the Stoke City game are back-to-back home games. Um, Queens Park Rangers is at home. Of course, Liverpool is away. Um, West Ham United is away. Southampton is away. So again, playing Southampton this early again when they're pretty much kind of like on a down streak right now. Hopefully they continue on that, and that once we go to their place, that they're still down. They're not playing as well as they did earlier in the season, and we can start distancing ourselves from them as well. But it seems like they're coming back down to life, like I just said early in this episode. So, um, yeah, hopefully, like I said, build on confidence, build player confidence. Hopefully, the manager starts getting his head out of his ass, and we just start playing the Arsenal way again, because that's what we desperately want and need. And yeah, on to the rest of the season.